All right, welcome everybody. So today we got our special guest, the director of More Than Miyagi and The Real Miyagi and much more, Kevin Derrick. How are you doing today, sir?
I'm doing good. How are you doing?
Pretty well. So, what initially made you want to get involved with the film industry?
It kind of started pretty early. I remember the first time I remember my dad bought me one of those silent 8 millimeter projectors when I was a kid. I think I was like 8, 9 years old or something like that. So we would go buy like those old Western films that were, those little loops that were 3 minute films. But they were silent and they didn't have any, effects and stuff. I remember showing it to our, family members and stuff whoever came over. And then me and my brother would stand in the back and make sounds like, like the horses would pick up something and, do the
Yeah,
horses running and just, the Indians and stuff like that. So, it kind of started from there. And then like in the 80s when the VHS recorders came out, they were like 2,000 bucks. I don't know if you remember, but they were like huge, humongous cameras
yeah, I've seen him before.
carried on your shoulders. So yeah, they were like 2,000 bucks, and I was a kid. I didn't have any money, so I started, selling my comic book collection and my bike and all that stuff. So I ended up buying one of those things, and then back then I was into karate, so I gathered all my, karate friends, the kids that were into
Yeah,
karate in my neighborhood, people and stuff like that, and we started shooting a little film, and we called it like back then. Bruce Lee, Enter the Dragon was really popular back then, just
yeah,
as Karate Kid is now. So we shot a film, and it was a stupid film. I mean, it had
yeah,
no
yeah,
premise or anything. We just,
yeah,
what you guys do these days, just, take the camera out and shoot something. But we edited and we showed it that night, and all the people that were, sat and watched, they were laughing, they were having a great time. And then that's when it kind of clicked for me, and I said, wow, I'm generally a shy person. Now I can make someone feel a certain way by
yeah.
making something, showing it to them. So for me, that's how it started. And then I went to Columbia College up in LA, and I worked on tons of low budget projects. I did a whole bunch of short films and worked on other people's projects. And then I got married. And when I got married, when you have kids, you have a lot of responsibilities. So
Yeah, yeah, for sure.
jump from like one project to another.
Yeah,
I started a photography company, like, doing all sorts of photography, headshots and stuff like that.
yeah,
And that picked up really good, and I was stable for a long time. And then now that my kids are older, I decided just to get back to what I love, which is making films. And I met Oscar Alvarez, and, that's how we started, doing all these documentaries. And so far, so good.
yeah. So, can you talk about your experience? I think you met Pat Morita prior to Karate Kid, right?
Right, right. That's true. I think it was 1983. I don't know if you know, but I trained with Sensei Fumi Demren. He was the one who did all the stunts with Pat Morita, and
Yeah,
he has the yearly tournaments, and he's been doing that for like 50 years, I think. So, and each tournament, he has a celebrity there, whether it's like Bob Wall, Chuck Norris, someone from James
yeah,
Bond. I remember seeing. I don't remember who the heck it was, but he came and he was just sitting right next to my sensei, and right next to Pat Morita there was an empty
yeah,
seat. So I was like 14, 15 years old, so I didn't know any better, and I just went and sat right
yeah,
next to
yeah,
him. And then I said, hey Pat, how are you? I love you in Happy Days. And then he was very nice. He just took the time. He turned his attention towards me like I was the only person there. There's nobody else there.
yeah.
So we just talked briefly, and then I took a picture with him, and basically that was the only time that I met him. I'd never met him after that. So that was my only encounter with Pat.
Yeah, so with the real Miyagi, it's been out for a few years. What was your favorite part about making that project? The true story of Master Tomorrow.
The favorite part of making any of these projects is the people that you end up interviewing. For us, we got to interview some very nice people. Michael J. White was pretty nice. Dolph Lundgren was nice. We interviewed Steven Seagal. We went to Arizona and interviewed him. So that's kind of the best part of doing documentaries. So when you do a documentary, it has to be Love project because you spend like 3, 4, 5 years of your life and you have to
Yeah,
do something
absolutely.
that you enjoy watching yourself, because ultimately you're making it for yourself. If you make it for somebody else, because like let's say I make a documentary for you, I don't know what you like, I don't know
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
what your pace is, and who you like, you know. So I end up making it for me, and I hope by me liking that documentary, there's like
yeah,
thousands of other people that enjoy what I like. And the way that got started is we were doing a documentary called the Real Karate Kids. I think it's
yeah,
that yellow poster there.
yeah,
Um, I've been stuck in the karate world for a long time now. So I was making that documentary. We were up in Florida, and then I hadn't seen Sensei Demura for a long time, and he was one of the people on the panel that was doing like the judging and all that stuff. So I just went up to him. I said, "Hey, Sensei," and he remembered who I was, and he said, "Hey," he told me, "Kevin, wait. After this is done, lunchtime, we can go out and talk." So we
yeah,
went out to lunch, and I started talking to him, and then there was a brief moment where I said, "Okay, this is the moment where I hit him up, to ask him if he
yeah,
wants to do documentary." And I asked him, and he just said, "You better do it fast because I don't know how much time I have to live." And I think back then he was like 70
yeah,
something, and we got lucky because we did the interview with him, and right after the interview, like 3 months later, he went into coma.
yeah. I remember, hearing that in the documentary. That, yeah,
Right, right. So I'm glad at least we were able to do that interview before he actually that
yeah,
happened to him. But then, because of his martial arts and all that stuff, he was able to, regain his strength and come back. And we, thank God, we finished the documentary, and it turned out pretty good, I think.
yeah. So, is there any word of possibly more than Miyagi getting put on Netflix?
More Than Miyagi, what's going on with More Than Miyagi and Netflix is we have sent it to them, they have seen it, they like it, but they haven't responded. So, and
Yeah,
if they don't respond, it could mean a whole bunch of things. Maybe they're waiting for the right time. Maybe they don't think it fits their scheduling, but I don't know. I don't know. So, but
yeah,
they're aware of it. They know it's out there. So, but
yeah,
we're doing really good. I mean, on iTunes and Amazon, more people are able to see it on iTunes because it's all over the world.
yeah,
Everything works out for a reason. So I think, so far so good. If they end up taking it, great. If not, we're doing good. So
yeah.
it really doesn't matter.
What was it like getting to work with Evelyn Morita on the project?
She was very helpful. Without her, we couldn't have done this because, well, first of all, she owns the state. So if even if we wanted to, we couldn't have done it. She had to sign off on all the Pat stuff. Uh, I remember the first time that we went to her house, there were like boxes and boxes all over the place. I said, "Are you planning on moving or doing something?" She said, "No, this is all Pat's stuff. I figured that you want to go through it." And there were like tons and tons of
Yeah,
boxes.
yeah,
And I started opening them up, and there were like pictures of Happy Days. There's tons of pictures of the Karate Kid. So I went back and I scanned as much as I could. I think I scanned like thousands and thousands of
yeah,
photos.
yeah,
So, slowly, when I get the time, I'm going to give it to the person that posts on Instagram, and we'll post them up. Yeah, it was a good experience. And I don't think without her, we couldn't have done this.
yeah. So, what's your favorite Pat Morita non-Karate Kid role?
Well, obviously, it's the Happy Days.
Yeah,
Happy.
that's what I
I grew
figured.
up watching Happy Days, and for me, Happy Days was a big deal. And then he did another one called Honeymoon in Vegas. I don't know if you've seen that one. That one was
Nah, I
pretty
haven't
nice.
seen that
I
one.
enjoyed that one with Nicolas Cage and all that stuff. His character was very nice in there. So.
Yeah. So, what was your favorite, Karate Kid movie out of the original four?
Actually, in the order that they were made, the
Yeah,
first one was my favorite. Then the second one, then the third one, and the one Will Smith did comes fourth, and then the next Karate Kid comes last because Robert Mark came and didn't write the next
yeah.
Karate Kid.
It
He
was like
got
a first
credit
time
for it, but
screen.
he didn't write it. So the issue with that film for me is two big things. It's one of them is the writing, and the other one is the cinematography. It looks like a TV movie. It doesn't have the same feel as the Karate Kid.
Yeah. So, did you guys reach out to Thomas Ian Griffith to be in it?
When we started, we actually went through Pat's IMDb page and we hit up everyone. I mean, everyone that's alive, we hit up everyone. And the people that you see in the documentary are the people who replied back.
Yeah.
And either with no one, the people that, wanted to help, they helped. And the people who didn't want to help didn't reply back. And
Yeah.
so, yeah, we hit up everyone. We hit up everyone. But, I think, yeah, Thomas Griffin, I think he was out of the whole show business for a long time. I don't
Yeah. Until recently. But yeah.
Right. I don't know how they convinced him to come back, but yeah, he was out of it. Also, I don't know if you know this, but the girls that were in Karate Kid, other than Tamita, Elizabeth Shue, Robin
Robin Laughlin.
Lively, and
Yeah.
Hilary Swank, after the Karate Kid films, they distanced themselves from the film because they didn't want to be pigeonholed like Pat was.
Yeah.
So now that they already been established, I can see them coming back and doing more things. But for a long time, if it wasn't because of Cobra Kai, they would have never came back, or they wouldn't have mentioned the Karate Kid films at all. But
Yeah.
now that they've seen that it's so much popular, I
Yeah.
was surprised when Ali came back. I'm completely surprised. But
Yeah. I mean, I heard they did that like whole email thing before they even knew if they were going to be able to get her back.
oh yeah, I didn't know that. I didn't
Facebook
know that.
request.
She's already done so many great things. I don't know if you watch Bad Boys. That's one of my
Yeah. Seen
favorite
that.
movies.
Cocktail. A lot of other good stuff.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, she's doing good.
So, have you seen season three?
I've seen all of them.
Yeah.
Seen all of my favorite parts obviously is when Ali comes back, which I didn't think she was gonna come back. And then the part where Ralph goes back to Okinawa to pay homage to Pat Morita. So any time that they pay homage to Pat Morita, that's my
Yeah.
favorite part because that's what I'm about, Pat. And if as much as they can show, it's better for me. So.
Yeah. So I know like y'all started out way before, well, not way before, but before Cobra Kai was starting. Did y'all have to go out to Atlanta to do any of the, original Karate Kid interviews?
Billy lived in LA, so we did that a year before Cobra Kai was even a thing. So we interviewed Billy first, and then while we were interviewing other people, they started shooting the Cobra Kai first season. So for Ralph, we ended up going to Atlanta and shooting him in Atlanta, which that was a very, very, he's such a nice guy. All of them are very nice. He like dedicated like 2, 3 hours. And then I had a lot of Karate Kid 3 posters that Pat had signed before he passed away. And there was, I would say, maybe like 20 of them I had. And I asked him, I said, can you sign this so we can, sell these and raise
Yeah.
money for making a document? He was nice enough. He signed all of them. He wrote a whole bunch of things. He sent us personal messages that we could use. Very, very nice guy. Very nice guy.
So what was your favorite interview that you got to do for Morty?
Well, I bet since you're Karate Kid fanatic, you want me to say Billy and Ralph. But I was raised in the 80s, and in the 80s, you only had like three channels. You had
Yeah.
ABC, NBC, CBS, so you would turn it on and you were limited to what you can watch. And the most popular sitcom then was Happy Days. The way it worked when you were a kid back then, you would watch, that night at 7 o'clock, you would watch Happy Days. And then the next day you would go talk about it. Hey, I can't believe Fonzie did this. I can't believe that. That's how it was back then. It was so
Yeah.
simple back then. So for me to be able to interview the Happy Days people, it was just surreal. I would say like, Henry Winkler was my favorite. Miriam Ross, the mother,
Yeah.
she was my all-time favorite interview because she was exactly the way she is on Happy Days. We went into her house. I felt like I have set foot into the Happy Days set,
Yeah.
and she comes in and she says, "Hey, Kevin, Oscar, before we start shooting, I made you guys some cookies and lemonade. Let's sit down
Yeah.
and eat, and then we'll start shooting." So, and that's what she used to do on in Happy Days. So for
Yeah.
me, those ones are the most cherished ones, like Ralph, Malf, and Potsy,
Yeah.
and all these people. Those ones were my favorite.
Was it tough getting into those deeper parts of Pat's life?
I did struggle with that a lot. It took me a long time, but I wanted to, before I shared anything, to confirm it with multiple sources just to make sure that that actually happened.
Yeah,
With the thing in Happy Days, I confirmed it with three people. So, Pat was a nice guy. Everyone loved him. I loved the man. I'm sure millions of people out there. I really didn't want to diminish his character. He helped out, kids. He went to the hospital. He did donated his time and all that stuff. So he was a all around a nice person, and I just didn't want to take it upon myself to, diminish his character. So that's why I just chose that one little scene from Happy Days just to push the story forward, and that's it.
yeah. So, final question: what do you want people to take away from this documentary?
I want people to take away, to realize that look at this young boy, this young Japanese boy that went through so much suffering, through tuberculosis, internment camps, discrimination, and he was able to rise above all that stuff and create the most iconic character in Karate Kid history. If it wasn't because of Pat Morita, Karate Kid wouldn't have been as successful. And if it wasn't because of the success of the Karate Kid, you wouldn't be seeing Cobra Kai right now.
Yeah,
He was the first Asian that had his own sitcom. I mean, he has a
yeah,
on Walk of Fame. I mean, he's done a lot of groundbreaking stuff, and he paved the way for a lot of Asians. He wasn't just Miyagi, as the title states. He was more than Miyagi,
yeah,
right?
yeah. I just want to thank you for coming on. It was great to be able to chat with you today.
Thank you so much. And people can watch the film on iTunes, Amazon, Vudu. It's all over the place. If they do a search, they can find it pretty easy.
Cool. All right. Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much.